Welcome to My Mythical Meta. My name is Travis, and I'm joined by my two good friends, Ben and Derek. You guys say hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Notice anything different? We're video now.
Whoa.
We are actual, real-life people.
You get to look at our ugly mugs.
No more talking heads. Hey, ugly mug, speak for yourself.
I definitely speaking for myself.
I'm realizing I'm not an animated person. I don't make the facial stuff. Everything's very forced that I'm doing. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be a learning curve for sure, both on the acting side for us and the editing side for me. Randy claims he's sick, but I think it's because we knew we were trying video out today. I think he I think he cowarded his way out. But have we got some news from the Warfront today, right, guys?
Yeah, but real quick, I don't think our listeners know that we can't see each other because we're recording outside of Discord. So even though we're talking to each other on Discord, I can't see what faces y'all are making or anything. For all I know, y'all are... Exactly.
I want to do some root stuff later.
Oh,
See
no.
if Travis can figure it out.
Derek is just throwing the finger up the entire video, and it's not until the end where I have to blur out his hands.
Yeah, good luck.
Right?
Yeah, for today's news from the Warfront, we are reacting to some big news in the Magic the Gathering community, especially for the Commander format.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering occasionally, usually quarterly, has announcements for each of its formats. Its standard format, modern format, and most Magic the Gathering formats are run by Magic itself, by Magic and by Wizards. But the Commander format is not. Commander was created by a group of judges, but not employees of Wizards itself. And to this day, the Commander ban list is not run by Wizards. It's run by an entity called the Rules Committee. So the Rules Committee put out a big announcement today with 4 cards that were banned from the format. And I don't know about you guys, but I find I have a lot more powerful responses to this ban announcement than any ban announcement in the past.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm in the same boat. Maybe because I actually own these cards and I'm mad about it, but these feel dumb.
That might be it. I own most of these cards as well. I was on the fence about buying one of them literally just the other day. And I'm so glad I didn't because this announcement came out.
Yeah.
And
which one?
It would have been a waste. It would have been an absolute waste of money.
Yeah, which one?
And now the cards that I do have.
Which one were you gonna buy? What were you gonna buy?
Zone. He wasn't even listening.
I was gonna buy Nadu.
Oh, okay. Well,
I was gonna build a Nadu also, or Nadu.
Well, I was thinking about Nadu for our Secret Santa thing.
Oh. Okay,
building Nadu with
that would have been cool.
white, red, black.
Yeah, y'all are gonna hear about our Secret Santa in a bit later. He just kind of
our Secret Santa deck challenge is complete nutter butters.
Yeah,
but that is an episode for another time.
Yeah.
But
that would have been cool.
Yeah, this commander ban announcement just feels very different. I'm calling this the Great Culling of September 23rd, in which the Rules Committee takes a hard stand against ramp. And
I guess.
It just doesn't... What'd you say?
I said, I guess, but not Soul Ring. Cowards.
I know! If you're gonna take a hard stand, and we're gonna get to the cards, it wasn't everything... Your thing stopped recording? Okay, well, turn it back on.
I hope not.
Oh my god, that would be awful.
Okay, I'm recording.
Well, let's see. Mine's not to 5 minutes yet. It's almost there.
Yeah, mine just got to 5 minutes.
That's
I'm
still
at 501, 502. I'm still going.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for this week's news from the Warfront, we haven't really talked about ban lists and what they do for a game yet in the pod. So we'll have a brief discussion about that, about what ban lists do, the purpose they're supposed to serve, and how they're supposed to help. But then we can talk about these cards.
Yeah.
And our reactions to this ban list announcement. So, Benjamin, walk us through what a ban list is and what you think the purpose of a ban list is for a game like Magic.
Okay. So, yeah, ban lists are, at their most basic, they're a list of game pieces or play styles that are not allowed in a game. Maybe because the developers or designers made a mistake, or because a new piece has been printed that combos really well with them or whatever, but they've decided this should not be allowed in our game. And there's two ways they might do that. So one, you might have a power consideration one where they say this card is too powerful and it warps the competitive metagame. Or you might say, you might look at it from a more casual point of view and say this type of card promotes play styles or play patterns that we don't want. It's not as fun. So you have the fun consideration, you ban it because it's not fun, or you have the power consideration, you ban it because it warps the metagame. And within that, there's lots of subgroups and stuff like that. But that's the main reason why bans exist.
Yeah, and I think something that's so important for our pod, or for our meta specifically, and then for the group at large, is that a ban list only moderates the game when you're playing against strangers.
Yeah.
A ban list is not worth the data that it occupies on the internet. It's not worth a piece of paper it's printed on if you're playing among actual friends who can make decisions about the game they want to play themselves.
Absolutely.
There's no rules committee police that's going to swing in on ropes and crash through the window if we're playing at somebody's house and somebody plays a banned card. And I take out my old Golos whatever Pilgrim.
Tireless Pilgrim?
Golos Tireless Pilgrim. No shadow cabal of rules committee shock troopers are going to
the Hasbro Pinkertons
arrive at my home. What'd you say?
The Hasbro Pinkertons gonna kick it right.
Yeah, exactly. The Hasbro Pinkertons don't know if I'm playing my Golos deck at home.
Right.
But it does matter when I'm playing against strangers. If I go to my shop, then everyone should know what's fair, what's allowed, and that's kind of the purpose of these authority entities like the Rules Committee.
Right.
Is there anything else, Derek? Did you want to add anything to what a ban list is supposed to do?
No.
Okay. There's one thing that's always been strange about the Rules Committee is that they have this philosophy, and you can read this document. They have this philosophy called the Spirit of Commander. Mm-hmm. And their ban list encourages that quote-unquote spirit. Now, in most cases, I understand the Spirit of Commander philosophy document. They want the Commander game to be about self-expression, to be about creativity, to find places in the game of Magic for cards that no longer see any play, in order to find special moments and create special stories through Magic the Gathering. But I feel in this ban specifically, so some bans they've made in the past make sense with that philosophy. I don't think this ban does.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get to the 4 cards that were banned on September 23rd, 2024. Card number 1, Dockside Extortionist. Card 2, Jeweled Lotus. Card 3, Mana Crypt, which was literally just in a deck tech that we made for Randy's deck.
Has it?
That's gonna be coming out very soon. The video's finished.
Oh no! So we're gonna be talking about a banned card in our deck tech.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. And then Nadu Winged Wisdom, which is also a brand new card.
Yeah, it just came out.
Just came out in Modern Horizons 3.
Yeah.
It's brand new.
It's also it's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Let's talk about Nadu Winged Wisdom first, actually, because I feel like we don't have much to say about it.
I mean, yeah. You mean we as a group, as a pod?
As a pod,
Yeah.
as our meta.
Yeah, none of us have played it yet. Built a deck around it. Although I think some of us had been considering it. We mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
I was gonna put it in the 99.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
It's an interesting ability, but they just put those quotation marks in the wrong place, and it's broken.
I wonder why they couldn't errata this though. Why couldn't they just fix it?
Magic has some weird relationship with errata. They simply will not do it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they got Scryfall where they upgrade other cards. It is possible they do it.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah. But I mean, this one,
And they're happy to do it on Magic Arena. That's the whole purpose of the Alchemy format that's on Arena.
yeah, live.
They said, live updates. Live errata patches that they can put on any card at any time.
Yeah, but no, I Nadu, unlike the rest of them that we're going to get to in a second, Nadu was a playstyle fun ban. The rest of them were not, but Nadu specifically, it's a repetitive playstyle. It encourages.
Benjamin, go ahead and read out Nadu for us.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So Nadu is a legendary creature, bird wizard. Costs 1 and a green and a blue, so 3 mana, for a 3/4 with flying. So already above the curve stats there. For 3 mana, you get a 3/4 flying. And it says, creatures you control have. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. Now, that means you can target each of your creatures twice each turn.
Yeah.
To get a land or a card in your hand. And so if you've got 3 creatures plus Nadu, right, it gives the ability to itself as well, then you can get 8 triggers from something that can target for free. Right? And so it's just, you're constantly looking, where do I put it? Oh, now I have more mana and I just drew a bunch of cards, so I do it again. Oh, let's look. And the thing is, unlike most combos or very powerful engines like this, it's not determinative. Not everybody's going to just scoop because, you've got a draw engine on board. They have to wait and see what you draw and see, where do the lands go and whatever. But just that combination of ramp plus draw plus repetitive playstyle plus got to resolve X number of triggers every time. It just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just takes a very long time to watch somebody play Solitaire.
Yeah.
I had a deck a very long time ago. It was Damia, Sage of Stone. Mm-hmm. That was very similar to this. I could spend 20 minutes playing with myself, just moving cards around and watching the dance happen between my deck, my graveyard, my board, whatever. But then after 20 minutes, my board hadn't changed.
Yeah.
So
that's
Nadu
Benjamin's Lord Windgrace deck also.
Lord Winggrace makes tokens.
I mean, Benjamin wouldn't agree with you.
He gets wins every once in a while, but boy,
that's right.
It's 30
for everyone else,
turns.
it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
For everyone else, it is hard to watch, and Commander has the presence of specifically equipment.
Yeah.
That equip for 0, and equipment matches Nadu's text, becoming the target of a spell or ability. Equip is an ability that targets a creature. And so you can just move your Lightning Greaves around 8 times and get all those triggers. Lightning Greaves has been a staple of the Commander format for many years. Mm-hmm. It was in a lot of Commander precons, and so this became a problem in this format as well.
Yeah.
I personally am not overly hurt about the Nadu ban because Nadu had already been banned in Modern.
Yeah, it was on people's radar. Hey, maybe this isn't okay.
Yeah, it was on people's radar, and Modern is a format that is regulated by Wizards. Magic itself does run Modern, and if they are saying this card is wrong,
oopsie,
then I feel like it's fine for the rest of us to follow suit.
Yeah.
They are admitting they made a mistake with Nadu Winged Wisdom by banning it, and so we can too.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to add about Nadu Winged Wisdom?
No, I think we're all kind of okay with that one. I think the juiciness will come with the other ones.
Yeah, this one definitely made sense. I remember reading a lot of horror stories every single week about someone having to play against a Nadu player who was just... Y'all couldn't see it, but I was... jazz fingers. You'll see it on the video.
Yeah, who's just filling the time, ramping, and drawing cards, and sometimes not having anything to show for it, or sometimes winning, but... Like Benjamin said, you can't just scoop to it. You have to wait to see what they accomplish with it.
Yeah.
So it's a boring card. It's not incredibly creative. Now, the other three cards, Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt. These are the ones that our group has a problem with. And I think it's kind of interesting that we have problems for different reasons.
Yeah.
So, do y'all want to talk about these cards individually in any way? Or just jump in and start sharing our opinions?
Yeah, let's talk about them individually.
Okay.
Because I think, each one has a different problem. I guess Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt are kind of similar. We could talk about them at the same time.
Yeah.
But
Benjamin mentioned when we were planning the episode that all three of those cards have the issue where they come out mana positive.
Mm-hmm.
They create more mana than they cost to play, which is rife for abuse.
Yeah.
Like, it's a perfect storm, a cauldron, where if any of these things can be reused more than once, then it's a tool for infinite mana. And I'm sure there are Jeweled Lotus combos where you can sack your commander and then generate more mana than the commander tax with it. Who knows? And there are certainly Dockside Extortionist combos where you can create more treasures than it costs to recast Dockside or whatever. So that's like the main issue here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Well, which one did you want to talk about?
So I want to talk about Dockside Extortionist.
Okay.
This card came in a Commander Precon deck.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
2019. It was in the Dragon deck.
Okay, the Dragon deck. Was that
No, am I wrong?
Probably.
The symbol doesn't look like the 20... No, the Dragon deck was 2017.
Well, Dockside Extortionist, the original one, 2019. 2019.
Okay, Commander 2019. And then they reprinted it in 2022 in Double Masters.
Yep, and in the list. It's in the list. So this is a card that, while still rare and expensive, had gotten reprints. Mm-hmm. That, Magic knew that it was a good card, that it's powerful, and they're still working on getting it out into other people's hands more often. Yeah.
I had one Dockside Extortionist. I had it because I bought the Commander product in 2019. And the one place where my Dockside Extortionist was in my Krenko Mob Boss deck.
Yeah.
It's a goblin, and it creates treasures. Red struggles with ramping, and so, voila. That's it. That's where my Dockside Extortionist is.
Right.
And that's it. That's all I had been using it for. If I had wanted to combo out with it, I certainly could have put it in other decks. But I'm moderating myself with my friends and the people I play against, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not interested in that, then I'm not going to put it there. Or I feel like, did one of you guys combo off with Dockside? Derek, was it in your Extus deck?
Yeah, I used Dockside Extortionist in one deck one time in my Extus.
Overlord.
Gonna give it to you.
Right.
And it was so I can recur stuff, get the treasures, because that was a struggle with ramping in that deck.
Sure.
And it did the job I put it in there to do one time. Not that it couldn't do it. If I would have built a better deck at the time, it would have been better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't win me the game. I don't think I ever won with that deck. But
sure,
I had one good turn, one good game.
Yeah. So we've got an $80 card. It was $80 at the beginning of today.
Right.
Who knows how much it'll drop down to? It's only legal in Legacy and Vintage now.
Yeah.
I guess it's legal in Oathbreaker, but I don't know who's playing Oathbreaker. So it's a goblin that makes treasures, and because people found a good use for it, that's enough to have it banned from the entire format.
Mm-hmm. You can get it for $25 now on TCG Player.
25.
Oof. I'm tempted.
For what? For Legacy?
For Legacy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where you can run 4.
Well, exactly.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
It just feels like if... not everyone was using Dockside Extortionist to combo out and make infinite mana. Not everyone was doing that.
Well, and what the big thing for me is even, sometimes not everyone was using Primeval Titan to get two lands and combo off too, but it's possible. But the thing about Dockside for me is that you can't get it out on turn 1 unless you're doing something else broken, and you can't. And if it comes down on turn 2 and the rest of your table's not doing something broken, it might get you 2 treasures. Right, it might pay.
Yeah.
You had to spend 2 to get 2, and then and they're temporary. Right, it's no better than a what's that one that comes in with counters that you can take off?
Withering Druid or something like that.
No, I'll find it while I'm talking. But to me, it gets better the later into the game it goes. So the fact that it's 2 mana is not that big a deal, right?
Yeah, it's all about your opponents, whatever your opponents have. So, sure, you may have you have an explosive start or whatever. But if your opponents don't have anything, it's a dud.
Yeah, and to me, it's like the perfect commander card in that the better your opponent's boards are, the better it gets. The worse they are, if you're sitting there playing Vandal Blast and clearing everybody's artifacts, you're making your Dockside Extortionist worse, right? So it's only good when everyone else is already set up and has an engine going, right? They have their artifacts and enchantments in place. And I know...
And when that happens, it's a red catch-up card.
Yeah.
Or it's a red break stalls also. Like if there's a board stagnation, this will help you maybe get out of that.
Yeah, Pentad Prism is the card I was thinking of.
Okay.
I don't know how I would have ever known that. Never heard of that card in my life.
I've never heard of it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. It's these plays...
There was a Druid that comes in with -1/-1 counters, I think.
Yeah, and that one...
Talk about the one that untaps itself and puts a counter on?
Oh, yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. You're thinking of Devoted Druid.
Devoted Druid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so...
Not important.
But yeah, to me, the thing I like about Dockside Extortionist is that it scales with the power level of your meta, right? If you're doing broken things already, and everyone's playing Mana Crypt and Lotus Petal, and I guess Lotus Petal's probably banned too. Anyways, if you're playing all these things, right, and everyone's got the artifact ramp going, or they're playing lockdown pieces, then Dockside Extortionist is going to be really good. And if everyone is kind of if it's a meta where people they ramp slowly, they build their board slowly, then Dockside Extortionist gives you a big boost of mana once, right? And then it matches that. Okay, you got a bunch of mana, or at least a bunch of treasures, but it's certainly not the only card that can make a bunch of treasures, right? Like there's
not at all.
And so, I don't see it as being that much better than Ragavan. Ragavan makes you treasures every turn, and it at the same time you play it turn 1, turn 2 you get a treasure. It's about as good as Dockside. But
a treasure and a card.
A treasure and a card. Yeah. Now, obviously Ragavan is also very good, but it also scales poorly in Commander. So, I don't know. I think Dockside. I think this was a mistake. I think that there are, if they're going after big ramp, there's lots of other cards that are much worse offenders. I mean, Dockside Extortionist was expensive because it's good, but if you're gonna combo with it, well, that's the meta you're in. Everyone's ready for it. It's not like it comes out of nowhere, right? You have to set up for it, just like most combos that I think are good for the game. So,
I mean, I'm thinking of a card like what's a green card that does something like this? Scapeshift?
Scapeshift, where you sack all your lands and get new lands?
Sack any number of lands, search your library for up to that many land cards, and it costs 4. Splendid Reclamation.
Oh, is that the one?
All lands from your graveyard?
It's 4 mana, return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Yeah.
Like, green is not seeing any of these hits.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, partner.
Get banned. What'd you say?
I said, hold on, partner. You don't need to drag other people down.
If the rules committee is taking a hard stand against ramp, which to me, I mean, this ban announcement is 3 out of 4 ramp cards.
I mean, even not a ramp.
And they, what'd you say?
Even not.
And Nadu's a ramp card. And in their explanation of these ramps or of these bans, they say Commander has the potential for someone to get out to a fast start and be the first arch villain. That advantage has been balanced by having multiple players gunning for them, which I think is still true. Occasional games like that are fine, but it shouldn't be common. We're taking steps to bring that frequency down by banning 3 of the most explosive plays in the format. I'm sorry, green does this every game it plays.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I mean, I'm thinking of the game, the last time we saw Mana Crypt, since that one's coming up next. The last time we saw Mana Crypt was when Randy played it in his Osier Talk Commander deck. And he didn't run away with that game at all.
No.
So, I mean...
To be fair, I think the jury is still deliberating whether that's a bad deck or not.
Well, but that's just it. Like, I think...
Even Mana Crypt didn't make it a good deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact...
And I know Randy's not here to defend himself. Sorry, Randy.
If he watches the video, we can fight about it later.
It almost killed him. Because...
Yeah.
So,
if they're gonna take a stand on ramp, I mean, do we want to go ahead and talk about why Sol Ring is not on this list?
Well, we know why Sol Ring's not on this list, right? Because it's been reprinted to death. Everybody owns 10 copies of it, and so they don't want to. They're only going after the expensive cards.
The cards that
for equity's
most people
sake.
don't have already, so it's like, oh, don't worry, guys.
Yeah, we're not coming after your stuff.
We're not coming after the plebeians.
We're just eating the rich. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Derek's not in favor of that.
No.
Well, in this case, we're the rich.
I mean, I don't.
I have 2 or 3 jeweled lotuses.
I don't have any. Yeah, you pulled them in packs because you're lucky.
I pulled them in packs because I'm that lucky.
Yeah. I don't have any of these. I sold my Dockside Extortionist a long time ago for $40. So.
Oh man. Well, good thing you sold it before today.
Yeah, but although if I'd held on to it, I could have sold it for $80. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt. Benjamin, I know you had some thoughts about Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt. You said you can quote unquote understand these bans.
Yeah. So and
give us a little defense here.
Okay. So. I know there's a fine line between these and Sol Ring, but there is a line, and that's that Sol Ring costs 1. So that means you turn 1, you make your land drop. you have to use that land to play Soul Ring, which means Soul Ring is mana positive. It gives you 2 colorless mana on turn 1. And with that, most people will play an Arcane Signet or some other 2 mana ramp or some other 2 mana artifact, but then their turn's basically done, right? You've ramped a lot.
Right.
Turn 2 is going to be good, but everyone then gets a turn to play their what's the card that you always like to blow up people's Soul Rings with and play a land?
Broken Bond.
Yeah.
Everyone else at the table gets their chance to Broken Bond your Soul Ring before you can really go off on turn 2, right? Mm-hmm. And it does not give you access to colored mana to be able to play your commander or some other card that can keep the chain going. Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt both break that, right? So Jeweled Lotus gives you access to 2 colors of mana. You play your land, you play Jeweled Lotus, you can then crack your Jeweled Lotus for whatever color your land does not provide, and you can play a 4 mana commander in up
you
to...
can play a 4 mana 2-drop or 2 color commander.
Yeah, a 4 mana
on turn 1.
On turn 1, and there are many commanders out there. You know, I'm thinking Marin, for example.
Oh yeah,
that can just run away with the game on that, right? Where where you're just sitting there going, well, okay, that's who can catch up now. And Marin's actually probably a weak example, but because turn 1 it didn't necessarily do anything. But
I have it in my Azrak deck. 4 mana commander. Ooh. Turn 2, I can start swinging for 8.
Yep. Wow.
I have it in Krenko.
Yeah, you see, it lets you
Krenko out turn 1 with it.
See, and that's busted. That's busted because turn 2, you play 2 more goblins, and then tap it, and you've got 6 goblins on turn 2.
And 3 opponents all trying to kill me.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Like, I think what they say in their announcement is still true with these cards.
Oh, you mean with the... Yeah, so their announcement says they're trying to minimize archenemy games. And I don't think that's really a good... I don't think that's a good goal because there's always going to be someone who gets out ahead. You can't... Games aren't fun if you're just at parity the entire game until someone wins.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
everyone needs to have the same
that is
1
not
mana,
fun.
and then 2 mana on turn 2, and then 3 mana on turn 3.
Yeah, like no,
Richard Garfield intended.
But he didn't. He put Dark Ritual in and Black Lotus in Alpha. Like, the whole point was you could either have your explosive turns early and hope that carried you through the game, or you could build up slowly and have a consistent draw engine and resources. You didn't blow 3 cards to get your big beater out and hope that it won, right? Your Black Lotus into Sarah Angel, and hope that it got you there. That was always the point. You had the fast mana, and you had the slower strategies that could hopefully beat fast mana. But still, the fast mana won out, right? And I think Jewel Lotus. There are cards out there where having access to 4 mana on turn 1 in 2 different colors can make it a non-game, and that's where I think the difference is. It's not that it makes you the arch enemy; it's that it makes it a non-game, right? And
what do you mean by non-game? A game where you're so far ahead, there's literally nothing that anybody can do.
Yeah, or you pull out a card that locks somebody out. So probably should have prepared this pre.
I mean, those are the
that's
cards.
Okay, I get it. Like, there are lots of commanders out who have ward now.
Yeah.
You know, any commander that's got ward or hexproof being out on turn 1 is going to be really good.
Yeah, imagine
because you've got 2 or 3 turns where nobody can touch it simply because they can't afford it.
Well, what about this? Jewel Lotus lets you play Rograk and Arden and a 1 mana equipment on turn 1. And equipment.
That's really good. That's pretty good.
So, I mean, that's the sort of thing I'm thinking of where you can just,
But that's not every game.
No, it's of course
only
not.
1 out of the 99 cards in your deck. You have a you have a 7 out of 99 chance of seeing it in your opening hand.
Yeah, but then those games where it happens,
those games where it happens feel bad, but are not as common as people are saying they are.
Well, if there's 4 of us, and we all start the game with 7 plus 1 cards...
But it's a $100 card. It's not in everybody's deck.
Well, I mean, you had 2, Derek has 1, Randy has 1, I think. I mean, in the game where we all pull out our best deck, which has been optimized with Jeweled Lotuses, right?
Okay.
We're all seeing 8 cards to start, so 8%. There's roughly a third of those games someone's gonna have a Jeweled Lotus early.
Yeah, but I feel like in that case,
and
if
in 100% of those
special,
games, there will be
no
3 enemies trying to kill them.
Yeah. What, Derek?
I was saying, I feel like if everyone's got those cards and they're all playing them together, it's one of those situations where if everyone's special, then no one's special.
I agree.
You all had equal chance, and maybe 2 people or 3 people in a game did get that chance. You're still keeping up with, I don't know.
Well, we can use all the same things that people have been saying about Sol Ring for 10 years.
Yeah.
If it's in every single deck, then everyone has a fair chance to see it.
I agree. But with Sol Ring, you can't play Anzrag, the Quake Mole, on turn 1. Which, I mean, I
can still play him turn 2.
You can play him turn 2, and that's still pretty gross. But at least I've had a chance to try, right?
Yeah.
And Mana Crypt is similar. Mana Crypt, you cannot play your 4-mana commander on turn 1, but you can keep playing. You can play a 3-mana commander or any other 3-mana card that'll get you ahead and still have it available on turn 2. It's not temporary. So I think Mana Crypt costing 0 is just, that's the line again, right? You have access to colored mana plus 2 when you play Mana Crypt on turn 1. And, that's...
Benjamin, whose side are you on?
What? I'm on the side of fun. Right. And this is where I think the rules committee made a mistake, is that they're trying to decide what kind of fun we should be having, right? They're saying that when you get together with strangers, you're not allowed to have this kind of fun, right? And y'all are saying, look, if we all sit down at the table with a Jeweled Lotus and a Mana Crypt in our deck, then we know what kind of game we're having. We asked for this, and we're probably playing this way because we like it. And and we as a friend group could say no Jeweled Lotuses, right? There's plenty of streamers out there that have custom ban lists. There's plenty of stores that have custom ban lists, and as long as you're in agreement, everybody together has decided what kind of power level they want to play with, then let the people who want to play with them play, right? Especially with Jeweled Lotus. The rest of these, you can still play them in Legacy. You can still play them in Vintage. You could still play them in like you said, Oathbreaker. Jeweled Lotus, you can't...
is playable in 0 places now.
0. And so people were sitting on an expensive card. I know supposedly they don't think about, all the money considerations, but it is a worthless
I think
card.
that's impossible, and I know Derek's on that side too.
Yeah.
I don't, Magic the Gathering wouldn't have a reserved list. They would reprint great cards all the time if they didn't care about the secondary market.
Yeah.
And I think the Rules Committee certainly cares about the secondary market because they ban expensive cards.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek, tell the people what you said in our group chat earlier today.
I don't remember what I said.
About the Rules Committee getting a chance to sell their cards?
Yeah. There's no ruling body that regulates the ruling committee or the Rules Committee. They can sell all their stuff before they're ever hit with any kind of financial loss from someone having a Jeweled Lotus. I was telling the guys, imagine the person yesterday who bought a Jeweled Lotus for $100, whatever it was going for, only to find out today that it's banned. That sucks.
That it's not worth the card stock it's printed.
Yeah,
on.
like these cards are
except
only
as
worth,
a quote-unquote collector item.
Yeah, what an insane thing that I just threw away 100. Like I could have lit $100 on fire and it would have given me more satisfaction.
Yeah.
Than that situation. Like, I don't know. Not that they're going to be making like hand over fist by selling their stock before, whatever. But they could say whatever. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're honest and all that stuff. But
I want to see all of them go the path of Martha Stewart.
yeah, let's see the bank accounts. Let's see the transactions.
Yeah, show us your receipts.
But it sucks, and they're like, because no matter what they say, I'll never believe that, because they're deciding like, well, I've got 15 Jeweled Lotus, maybe I should offload these beforehand. No, wait, that would be dishonest.
The guys running the rules committee, they are the most enfranchised players on Earth.
Yeah, they probably have a bunch of these.
They run the format. Mm-hmm. You know that their decks have lots of these cards in them. Mm-hmm. And then they know a week ahead of time that those cards are about to be useless. Ooh, seems real suspicious to me.
Yeah. And I mean that would be an argument for Wizards taking it over, because they have all sorts of rules about how their employees are not allowed to sell.
Yeah, because they have regulations and they can be held, in whatever liability.
Better Business Bureau or whatever.
Yeah, or being fired from your job or being blacklisted from the industry or something like that. Like there are consequences there. This is just a group of yahoos somewhere.
A group of nerds.
Yeah,
right.
Dorks,
running a podcast, running a Twitch stream.
Yeah, who have decided to ban a card. I don't know. That feels gross to me.
Yeah.
The crazy, cognitive dissonance I have is that I have never felt this way about the rules committee before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's... And I had a Hull Breacher.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had a Hull Breacher.
And a Paradox engine.
And a Paradox engine.
And we both have Golos.
Golos Tireless Pilgrim. I've had cards that gotten banned, but never felt like this before. And I think it's just because I thought because Sol Ring was safe, that these cards were safe.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's the hypocrisy behind it. If you're going to ban these cards, then ban Sol Ring. If you're not going to ban Sol Ring, then don't ban these cards. Because they're the same problem, whether you think that, because Sol Ring's our little pet boy, mascot.
Our little mascot.
Yeah, little mascot or whatever. It's doing almost the same thing as these things. They all can go in any deck. Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, and Sol Ring go in any deck. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Low cost. They're mana positive. I don't know.
And yes, there are the differences that Benjamin described, but still, I don't know, the ickiness factor I can't seem to shake. Now it's only been a day, and we have discussed. Our group has already discussed that we are going to comply with the rules. We commonly play at a shop. We want our decks to be legal when we play with strangers.
Yeah.
But again, that's the only point of a ban list, is playing with strangers and to moderate that experience. If I'm playing, and we have said on this pod many times that when you play with strangers, you should expect the utmost limit.
Yeah.
You should expect the utmost limit, and you can't reasonably be upset when somebody tries their hardest to win.
Yeah.
With a stranger, there's not a social contract.
Mm-hmm.
The only social contract is the rules of the game, and the rules of the game say that the object of the game is to win. And so that's what I should expect from my opponents. Now, we can try to have the quote-unquote pre-game conversation, and we've had an episode about this, about comparing power levels and what you should ask about if you are looking for the most fair game. But even if I went through that experience with a stranger and they still blew me out with Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt, that's part of the game. Those are legal cards, and if a collector invested in this deck so that it had powerful cards, who am I, lowly Travis, to take that experience away from them or to deny them any pride they got from winning?
Right.
And it feels like the rules committee has said you are not allowed to have that type of fun anymore.
Yeah.
We are going to decide what kind of fun the casual people playing at shops for nothing. We're going to decide what kind of fun they're allowed to have.
Yeah. Just so our listeners don't think that you're against every ban and everybody should just decide for themselves what kind of game they should want to play. Can you give an example of a card that you're fine being banned?
Sure. Let's go take a look at the banned list. A card that I'm fine being banned. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong list. That's banned legacy. Here's commander banned cards. There's a card called... There's a card called the Prophet of Crufix.
Oh, you're fine with that one being banned.
Boo! Hiss.
No, you're right. I was fine with that earlier. Let's look at Caracas.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's look at Caracas. Caracas is a land. That means it costs nothing to play. Mm-hmm. And its ability, if I remember correctly...
Taps for white, or it taps to return target legendary creature to its owner's hand.
Yeah.
That's right. Return target legendary creature to its owner's hand. Mm-hmm. The commander format is built around legendary creatures. So this land says, I'm going to make it so that other people's commanders can never attack ever. Because they will always have summoning sickness. They're also always going to be, whatever the cost of their commander is, they're always going to be that behind in the game.
Yeah. And I would totally play
every turn they have to play it. What'd you say, Ben?
I would totally play Caracas in my tap-untap deck. No one would ever get to play it.
Yeah, I would put it in every white deck.
Yeah.
If like the first time it's played against me, okay, I'll be the villain.
Yeah. But I mean, it would go in every deck it played, and you knowing that this is out in the meta, you can't build your deck to rely on your commander at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if your deck relies on your commander, then your entire deck is neutered when somebody plays this land. In a similar vein, I am fine with, what's her name? Iona.
Shield of Emeria.
I'm fine with Iona, Shield of Emeria. Because...
Oh, you're fine with it being
Iona's
banned.
ability... What'd you say, Benjamin?
You're fine with it being banned.
I'm fine with it being
banned.
banned.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it being banned. It's another card that says, whenever it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Spells of that color can't be played. Mm-hmm. So, with very little arithmetic necessary, you look around the board, you see what the most common color is, and you choose that color. Or, if there are any monocolored decks, you choose... Pardon me. You can choose that color. And you have effectively eliminated a player without having to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you played an 8-mana Angel.
Right.
So I'm not going to say...
You've held a person hostage in a game.
Yeah.
That sucks. That's an awful, awful thing to do in like this game. It's supposed to be about fun and like, winning and all that stuff, but
it's basically saying like, I'm going to cast this 8-mana Angel. I think it's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
if you can't do anything about it, then you can scoop or you can sit here.
Yeah. And
there's no amount of drawing that can save you.
Right. This sounds like when Derek played Gen Cataxis. And you were like, well, draw, pass, discard my hand.
Yeah. But it didn't prevent him from
I have
playing.
Answers in that deck, though.
Yeah.
If I draw the card, I can do it. If you're playing against if you choose the color of the monocolored deck, it doesn't matter if they drew the right card.
Yeah, because they just can't play it.
Because they still can't play it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to wait for the two other players to help you, which doesn't help them.
Yeah.
Why should they try to help another opponent?
Yeah.
So now I get that 8 mana is enough to win a game.
9.
I get that.
I mean,
but that don't jive well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cards.
Benjamin, what's a card that you're okay with being banned?
So I'm okay with the cards that where they completely homogenize the meta, right? And so I've got now. I obviously agree with the ones you just said. I agree with those being banned, but the ones that I'm thinking of here are Lutri the Spell Chaser and Golos Tireless Pilgrim, and I think y'all are gonna get some pushback. And look, I love those cards. I want to be able to play with Lutri. There's been multiple times where I've made a deck where I'm like, Lutri would be the perfect companion. And I wish I could play with Lutri because it's not overpowered. It's not like there's no, oh, this is going to run away with the game considerations or anything like that. Especially now that they fixed companions where you have to pay for them first. Like Lutri would be fine as a companion. But literally every deck that had blue and red would just stick it next to their commander. Right? Like you would just see Lutri in every game, maybe. Because unless you're running another companion, it goes in every 5-color deck, goes in 80% of 4-color decks, right? 60% of 3-color decks. Like, it's basically as ubiquitous as Sol Ring, except that it is a weird otter thing. Like, it just would be weird.
It's what, a 5-mana copy spell?
I think it's only
3 mana to get it in your hand. How much does it cost to play?
3 to play.
Okay. So it's a 6-mana copy spell.
Yeah.
That 70% of decks can run.
Yeah. And it's that, yes, but also it's a useful card that you then don't have to spend a spell slot on, right? Like at any time when you have 3 extra mana, you're like, I now have I can counter your counter spell. Or I can it is very versatile, right? It's like, oh, you're
not taking a card slot in the deck is worth a lot.
Yeah. It's
that was one of my deck building level up moments when I realized that every card slot was precious.
It's what makes partner.
And like, what'd you say?
I was saying that's what makes partner decks powerful because you have access to that extra card. Mm-hmm. I guess they still take a slot, yeah. But modal double face cards.
I realized that here's 50 uncommons that I think would be good in this deck. I can't play all of them. Mm-hmm. I have to do the discernment of which one is the best for this deck. And this deck would be great if it had lots of 1/1-for-1 flyers. Let me make up that deck off the top of my head.
That's you're talking about John Arenicus here.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, if I throw in 50 1/1 1-mana flyers, then that's 20 slots that I should be using for other things.
Yeah.
So that was a level up moment for me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I can't just make a one-note deck that has 60 cards that are all doing the same thing. I have to make choices.
Right. And
because every slot is precious.
And Lutri does not take up that slot, and as long as anyone is playing instants and sorceries, you can get what they have, right? If somebody's going to play Rampant Growth, you're like, okay, I also have Rampant Growth, right? Or counter the counter spell, copy the kill spell. It is what you need. Maybe not when you need it, but since it didn't take up a slot anyway, and it just goes in every deck of those colors, I think that's fine to be banned. The other one I mentioned was Golos Tireless Pilgrim, right? Which is it's colorless. It's basically the perfect commander, no matter what colors you're playing, right? You could be playing a monocolored deck with Golos as your commander, and then you just go and you fetch. What are the lands that make 5 colors? There's Cascading Cataracts, right?
Yeah.
And now you can activate his ability and he literally goes and gets it for you. The World Tree, right? He just goes and gets it for you, and now you can activate his ability. But if you're playing a deck that wants to run Caracas, or I guess not Caracas because you can't do that, Dark Depths or whatever, he's just so good as a commander for any number of colors. He's pretty much the best 5-color commander. I have a Morophon deck that can reduce the cost of Eldrazi down to 0. I wanted to use Golos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go get Urborg and Cabal Coffers and make as much mana as you need, right? It just...
He was the head of my Maze's End deck.
Yeah.
For obvious reason, he searches out Maze's End.
Right. And if you've already got Maze's End, he gets any number of gates or whatever. Yeah. No, he's just... So, I hated it because Golos is one of my favorite cards. I played it when it was in Standard on Arena. I played it... I tried, obviously. He's not quite good enough for Modern, but I loved Golos. And when they banned it, it made me very sad because I was in the middle of brewing what I thought would have been a really, really fun, not high-powered, not crazy, just would have been a really fun Golos deck. And Golos was actually, featured. It wasn't just, it's a good stuff thing. But the problem was he was just the best commander for any number of strategies and he was colorless, but also 5-color.
Yeah.
Like one of those weird things where you could just... It made... To me, banning Golos diversified the format in a good way, right? So, as much as I don't think it doesn't need to be banned on power level considerations, but just it's it was too versatile, so that it just you would expect everyone to have a Golos deck, right?
Right.
So,
Derek, are there any cards on the ban list that you're okay with?
You mentioned Iona. I definitely agree with that one. Leovold, Emissary of Trest. He's black, green, blue, 3/3. He makes it where you can't draw more than one card a turn, and then whenever you or a permanent you control becomes target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. The good way to build this deck is to just lock your opponents out of doing anything in the game, which kind of like Iona.
Right.
And I think that's what the ban should be for, is the cards that make playing a miserable experience, so much so that you're like, do I want to play next time? Do I enjoy this game? Like those are the cards I want banned.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the earlier ones like Sway of the Stars. It's like we start the whole game over again, but at 7 life.
That Karn, the first Karn or whatever it is, Silver Golem or whatever, that his ultimate is start a new game or whatever.
A sub game.
Yeah, what a ridiculous card. Ban this card. I do not. You've won this game. I let you.
How is that card not banned in Commander?
Well, because you got to ultimate him, and when you restart, it's if you played it right, it was a win because you get to start with permanents on the battlefield.
Yeah, so it's just it's winning, but you have to do combat 4 or 5 times to kill everyone or something. It's just okay, you've won. I don't know.
Because presumably you've exiled, because both of its abilities exile, and then you get to start the game with everything he's exiled. So you exiled someone's Sun Titan, and you've exiled somebody, and so you're going to get to start the game with these things on the battlefield. It shouldn't. The second game, the new game, shouldn't be much of a game.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's not banned. But I'm also kind of fine with the ones that are instant win, one card insta kills, where they just make it where the whole game didn't matter. And a lot of people have that same complaint with combos, but at least with combos, you had to build towards it. You had to, you can warn people, hey, this is a combo deck that, if you see this piece, know that it's going to go with another piece. You need to kill it or whatever. And you can play that way. But cards like Biorhythm, which is it's 8 mana, everybody's life total becomes the number of creatures they control. And then, just
Yeah, Biorhythm is pretty crazy.
Yeah, just right after a board wipe, play your Llanowar Elf and Biorhythm, and everybody dies except you. And it's like that's the kind of card where it's like, okay, that's not fun to play. You know, it didn't like the whole game was irrelevant because you played one card. And why not put that in a deck, right? You know, there's no reason not to play it when you can get an insta kill out of it. So
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Why is Upheaval banned but Cyclonic Rift is not?
Upheaval gets lands.
Upheaval gets lands.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Upheaval is wild.
I'm very okay with that ban then. Anything that like the last 2 hours or 1 hour of this game has just been made effectively nothing.
Been undone by only a 6-mana spell.
What a stupid like card that is.
That is the dumbest design I've ever seen.
Good God.
And that was Modern Horizons 2, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, for
well,
real?
They had 25 years of card design before coming out with Upheaval.
Well, I mean, it was way back in Odyssey. So
it
was just a reprint. A reprint in Modern Horizons.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
no, it's fine. If you've ever seen, MTG Goldfish has a series where they played Upheaval when it came to Modern, and it's great because the whole purpose is you try to make as much mana as possible, and you float all your mana, you play Upheaval and some other stuff, and you're right, it just completely nullifies the rest of the game. It doesn't matter what your opponent was doing up to that point; they've reset to 0, and you're reset to some board, and they can't catch up. And if you can just play Upheaval over and over, you can keep it that way. So
that's the kind of card that I would. Well, no, never mind. I was going to say something stupid. I was going to say I would put it in my Chun-Li deck, but
no.
But then Chun-Li gets returned, and I have to start all over. So,
well, they keep the kick counters, right?
Yeah, they do keep the kick counters.
I bet actually playing it in Chun-Li sounds great because anytime you fall behind, well, guess I'm playing Upheaval again.
Well, I do have Cyclonic Rift in my Chun-Li.
Gross.
Anyway, this was not an Upheaval episode.
Yeah. If I could change gears real quick, I mentioned to you guys off camera, but another thing to this is that these cards were all money, like we mentioned. Jewel Lotus was $100. Yep. LGSs that sell singles got hit by this hard too. They just lost a ton of investment.
Mm-hmm.
That might, I feel like that hurts them to the point where maybe we don't need to be in singles anymore. And then suddenly, how are we buying cards? Only packs, packs only? Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, our shop Montags, they do not do singles anymore. The only singles that are in the case are the ones that have been there since he decided to stop doing singles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because anybody who does singles, they bought, I bet they had a ton of Dockside Extortionists and Mana Crypts and Jeweled Lotuses that they've been buying. Even if you're buying them at half price, you've invested hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That could be a week's pay for a shop owner.
Yeah, that might be the difference between having power and lights and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to turn that AC up a little bit higher, and we're gonna sweat a little bit more.
You're gonna need to set it on 72, my guy.
Winter's coming, so they can just start throwing the Jeweled Lotus in the fire to keep it warm in the
winter. So that was not the only thing on this Commander announcement from the Rules Committee. And this brings us back to what we were talking about earlier. So they included something called an update on the Silver Border Project. Mm-hmm. And the Silver Border Project is supposed to be tools that players can use to have pre-game conversations about power level. Can you just focus on that?
Yeah.
And not bother with the ban list anymore? Right? If you're developing tools for how people can talk about the game better, then maybe that's where your efforts need to be going.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a ban list is the right way to control how people have fun, which to me is what Ramp specifically is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ramp is about, because ramp is means. Ramp can't be the end.
Yeah.
You know, the game is not won by ramp alone. You have to do something with it. So, you know, let the ramp be, and focus your efforts on the Silver Border Project. If you're going to come out with tools to help players talk about the types of games they want to play, and obviously I think that's great. We have a podcast where that's the idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that's an incredibly valuable tool. I think that's where your effort needs to be spent, because that's what we've been doing for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Is trying to have tools and get information out to players about how they can be better friends, how they can talk about their games in healthier ways, and how they can have more fun. So I obviously think that this Silver Border project is a great project.
Mm-hmm.
An absolutely worthy goal.
Yeah.
But I think the Dockside, Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt bans are stupid.
Yeah, you know what this feels like? It feels like, and maybe I'm not being very nice about this. I'm sure they tested these cards a lot. But it feels like they play these cards in their metas and said, I'm just not having fun, but they're deciding what our fun is for the rest of the however many Commander players they are. Like, what was the straw breaking point for Dockside, Jewel Lotus, and Mana Crypt? These cards have been out for literal years, and just all of a sudden, like, you know what? I hate these cards. Ban them. I don't know.
They've been out for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember
Jewel
when
Lotus came out in the first Commander Legends?
Yeah,
right?
I think that was like 2019, 2020, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when Randy and I were playing Helldivers 2? We were talking about how fun it was, and you know what killed that game for us is that they would put all these.
Is that game already dead?
Kind of, yeah. They would come up with all these exciting, fun weapons, like, oh yeah, like these enemies are super hard to kill. Here's a laser that's gonna blow the head off one. Oh, sweet, love it. And then they would just nerf, and like they wouldn't give us any tools, and so that way they can nerf something good, so that way they can sell us something later. And it's like they're just killing the fun instead of just making more crazy and exciting things. Not that there shouldn't be nerfs ever, but keep the fun, get rid of the struggle and the like heartache and just whatever.
Yeah. With you, man.
Yeah.
Benjamin, I know this is a news from the war front, but it's taken on the length of a longer project. Give us some words of wisdom.
Yeah, so
to walk away with here.
So I think what you've hopefully gotten from us is that you don't need to wait for a band announcement, whatever game you play, or whatever friend group you're in, before you start talking to your friends about what is fun and what is not fun, and regulating your own power level. And even beyond that, right, you don't have to listen to this. Keep your Dockside Extortionist and play it with your friends as long as they're okay with that, right? So the important part of any game is first and foremost to have fun, to make it an experience that you and your friends can do together and can do for a long time, right? It's something that you can all get together to do. And a ban list is all about strangers. It's not about friends. So so the ban list here, don't let that affect the fun that you've built with your groups, right? Get together and decide what card y'all want to play with, right? The cards are just a means to an end. The game and your friendships, your enjoyment of each other's company is the end. And with that, you can play any cards you want to do that, even proxies.
Yeah, let me jump on my words of wisdom. For the person who bought Jeweled Lotus yesterday and it's now worthless, remember, proxies are free. You should always proxy. Don't ever buy these cards anymore. Like, unless
any
they're
card
like,
more than $10, you should.
Yeah,
buy.
don't proxy anything. This is ridiculous. Imagine being that person. You'd never play this game again. You're like, oh, screw this game.
Yeah, I wonder.
Guys, I talk to guys at Goldmine all the time who no longer play Magic because of some burn like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just out of it. They said, and then something got banned, and then I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely happens. I suppose we should throw a bone to the people who only play with strangers and they think this was a good ban list.
Yeah.
Or they think this was a good ban announcement. But God, I feel like I wish those people would listen to the pod and value the experience with friends more.
Yeah.
And put more effort into cultivating relationships with friends so that strangers are not their only outlet to play this game with.
Yeah. But even if it is, right, the key was for them to find a store or strangers just sit down and say, what kind of game do you want to play? Even though we had these cards, we still make lower powered decks. Almost everyone I know, right, who has CEDH or high powered decks also keeps a precon or a theme deck or something lower power level to play with the people who don't have Jeweled Lotuses and Dockside Extortionists. And you just need to, if you find the people who are just pub stomping you all the time, just, okay, now you know who that stranger is, go find another person who's willing to play at your level. You don't have to ban the pub stomper from existence. And you can't, right?
Right.
Something else is going to...
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Rules committee, just put that in your philosophy statement.
There you go.
We've banned pub stompers.
The Pinkertons are on their way.
The Pinkertons, they're climbing my roof and coming into my window. Thank you guys so much for listening. Benjamin, Derek, thank you guys for being my great friends. Randy just sent a text. He said that he wasn't able to participate, but his response to the ban list was lame. And that's it. All right. Thank you. Good night.
Night.
This episode was sponsored by Eldorado Gaming. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This episode was edited by me, Travis Konishek, and our intro and outro music is by Tyler Heath of the Oh Hellos.